Over the next 2.5 decades, Western Sydney is going to play a crucial role in providing housing for a growing population. In those years, 30 to 40% of Sydney's new housing will be located in the northwest and southwest growth cities, some 180,000 new homes. Another reason why the northwest metro is going to be built, another reason why the southwest railway, which starts construction next year, is going to be built. Now, in those growth centres to date, we've rezoned 4 precincts: Holland Park, Turner Road, Edmondson Park and Colby. 20,000 lots in those 4 zones in less than 2 years. In fact, the Growth Centres Commission is making housing lots available in quick time. Now, these greenfield releases are just one way of providing housing for our future growth. But alone, they cannot provide the answer to Sydney's housing challenge. The use of industrial sites, infill, brownfield development is another. But the greenfield and the brownfield zones and developments are still vulnerable to high interest rates and sluggish market conditions, which is feeding the rental challenges that young families face today. And that's why today at this forum I want to float a third option. An option that will create more rental accommodation, but delivered in a way that takes up no new land and does not create visual impacts, but come with high density apartments. We refer to the idea of secondary dwellings. Secondary dwellings are small self-contained homes on the same lot of land as a traditional home, size in the order of 50 to 60 square metres. We're talking about things like a small 1-bedroom flat built over a garage, dividing a 3-bedroom home internally into a 2-bedroom main residence and a 1-bedroom other residence, or building a small apartment out the back. I'm not talking about dual occupancy like we had in the 1990s. I want to stress that. These homes will not be subdivided. They will not be sold separately. And there will be no relaxation of floor space ratios or setbacks. Now, there are many benefits to this idea. Secondary dwellings are constructed on existing residential properties. So there's no cost for land or for services. They are relatively fast to build, thus increasing the supply of rental properties and doing so fairly quickly. Compared to new land releases or high-density development, there's a very low-cost way to provide new housing, and that means cheaper rents. It's an attractive option for singles and couples on low and moderate incomes. Last and best of all, it can allow working families who are buying their own home to gain an extra source of income. A great way to ease the pressure of rising petrol prices and grocery prices, and it's also a good way for elderly people to afford to stay in their own homes. We've seen it work, and it's worked right here in Western Sydney. The McClellands, for example, a family in Short Street, North Parramatta. They had spare capacity, so they converted some of it into a small apartment, rented it out to local students. A win-win. A win for the McClellans, a win for the students. And the McClellans found it easy to pay off their mortgage, and the students had accommodation close to the University of Western Sydney for our students. A small, practical and living example of our goal. It was a model pioneered during the tenure of David Borger as Lord Mayor, and I pay tribute to him and our valued colleague as the members of Granville, and for Tanya Gadiel for their continuing support of the idea. This is not something that's come out of the blue. David pioneered in Parramatta, but there are many other councils who have been working on secondary dwellings. And Landcare, the state's land agency, for example, has included secondary dwellings in some of their recent developments, which have proven to be highly popular and successful. And those other councils along the Parramatta include Camden, Cogra and Coringa. Vancouver in Canada, more than 20% private rental accommodation in the private rental market is supplied by secondary dwellings. So there's every suggestion that the model can work in Sydney, not as a silver bullet, but as an additional measure that governments, local and state, can take to increase the supply of rental accommodation and take pressure off families looking for housing accommodation, affordable housing accommodation. As the next step, the Planning Minister Frank Santor will lead community and local government consultation on modifying existing codes to ensure that secondary dwellings are permitted wherever possible. We'll also be asking the Commonwealth to lift capital gains tax from privately rented secondary dwellings. Families should not be discouraged from adding a secondary dwelling because of the potential capital gains tax swap. So today I want to kickstart the debate in Sydney on secondary dwellings as a contribution to solving the challenges of increasing affordable rental accommodation. After all, we've got a growing city, record immigration levels, and that won't be changing anytime soon. So in that context, Western Sydney will be the centre of gravity, the workhorse of the Sydney Basin, as it has been since World War II. The future of this city does lie in Western Sydney. It is here that this great city turned to host the best ever Olympic Games. It is here that we have turned to through our growth centres to build the centres, the sustainable centres of the future. And it is here that we are turning to anchor our three river cities. It is here in the employment lands where the investment of tomorrow will occur. And it is here that the next chapter of public transport in the form of our metros will be written. Here, the region that is the future of Sydney and of New South Wales, a region that is strong, a region that has a bright, prosperous future. Thank you.